Here with another BEATBoX SAX tutorial volume 2 on the road of my 50/50 tour. Today I'm going to be talking about maybe my most difficult extended technique yet, and that's this idea of double tonguing while circular breathing. And a cool thing about this is I think it's going to apply to almost all of the wind instruments, not just the saxophone. But this is a pretty rare thing, and honestly, I've never heard anybody else talk about this, so I don't know if other people have worked on this or not. But this is just something I've been working around the last year or so. And it came about when I, of course, combined two techniques. But it's not the two that you might think of. Yes, circular breathing, which is talked about a fair amount with wind instruments. It's very difficult to do, but anybody can do it. And then there's a much less talked about one, and it's this idea of flap tonguing or doodle tonguing. Because you might think, oh, you just double tongue, you just circular breathe while doing your normal double tonguing, right? But no, most people when they double tongue, on the saxophone especially, are doing a taka-taka-taka motion. If you look at, you can watch a video I have on double tonguing, and I talk about going ta-ka-ta-ka, using the front of the tongue, the tip of the tongue, where you're touching the reed, and then the back of the tongue cutting off the air from the throat, which is unusual because you're not hitting the reed. And that's great for double tonguing. You can work on that and you can make it really clear really fast. However, since that ka is using the back of the throat, that is behind where you're actually circular breathing. You can't do those two things at the same time. Because as you know, and you can check out my circular breathing video that I made a couple years ago, circular breathing all happens from when you need to take a breath through your nose, you fill your cheeks with air, and then you use the muscles of your cheeks. So it's just pushing from right here, kind of the center of your mouth. That's pushing the air like that when you need to take a quick breath through your nose. So that sound is coming from here. Now, if you're double tonguing, your ka is coming from back here, behind where that air is. So it is not possible, and believe me, I've tried, to do regular taka-taka-taka double tonguing while doing this circular breathing. It's just not possible. It is possible to do regular tonguing while circular breathing, and that's another thing I haven't really heard talked about a lot. But it is possible to actually, you know, while you're doing that, to actually move your tongue up and down and actually physically strike that reed and tongue it. So. I could go longer if you really need me to prove that I'm actually circular breathing, but it is possible. I'm just moving my tongue. It feels weird, and that even takes a lot of practice to just be able to tongue while circular breathing. But that's possible the normal way. But like I said, doing double tonguing, you can't do the ka. It's just not going to work because that happens behind where the air is blowing from. So we need a different way of tonguing. And just kind of stumbling across this on my own, and years back I did a video on what I call alternative double tonguing or flap tonguing, or what a lot of people in the brass community call doodle tonguing. It feels a little different on the saxophone. And what this is, and you can check out that video, it's where we use the tip of our tongue to do both an up tongue and a down. Your tongue is actually going up on the mouthpiece. It's kind of scraping along, and then it scrapes down from the top down. Now you might wonder, is that bad on your reed? Probably. Is that bad on your tongue? Probably. However, I have noticed my tongue is calloused a little bit. You know, after probably weeks of this, I get less blood. So you will actually get a bleeding tongue if you work on this, but over time it will strengthen to where I think your tongue can, my tongue can handle it a lot. It's when I get into hours and hours that it bleeds a little. It doesn't really hurt, but anyways, don't need to get into all that. Now the challenge, of course, is can you do both? So don't attempt this technique until you can flap tongue correctly and consistently, and that's tough because, you know, when a lot of people, myself included, when I first was doing this, it was kind of wild and untamable, it seemed. know, just kind of all over the place. But after time of going, you know, working with a metronome, I got to where it could sound like regular tonguing. Versus my normal double tonguing, taka taka taka. Here's the flap tongue. And then the same thing with circular breathing. You're not going to, of course, work on this idea of combining the two until you can circular breathe well and you can flap tongue well. And it's basically just combining those together. I do think it is easier to practice this on a softer reed. Sometimes also the placement of the reed, how far it is, like it's probably a little bit easier if the reed is just a tiny bit back from the tip of the mouthpiece. If it's sticking out, you're really going to bleed your tongue because you're just hitting that reed. Otherwise, if it's back, you're kind of going on the mouthpiece and the reed. All this to say, there isn't that much more to explain about it other than just slowly start combining those two together. So that's about all I have to say on this video. Just remember to take it slowly, and remember, it is possible to circular breathe and single tongue and double tongue at the same time. I'll see you in 2 weeks where I'm going to talk about a true triple tonguing, 15 notes per second. Pretty exciting, so stick around for that.